Welcome, welcome. Thank you everyone for coming today. I'm super excited to be with all of you and with my amazing dad. We're going to be making his famous mushroom risotto. It's going to be super fun. But before we start, very quickly, I want to talk to you guys about next week's class, okay? Next week, we will not be having class on Monday. For those of you that do not know, I am a full-time special education teacher. The school year is starting next week. So we're not going to be having weekly classes anymore. I'm going to be letting you guys know. But next week, we're going to be having an amazing event with an awesome nonprofit organization, Soulless. And the event is on Thursday night at 7 p.m. We're going to be making tuna, tartar, tostones. If you're in my email list, you're going to get all the information tomorrow. There's a minimum $10 donation to join the class. All of the money that we get will be going straight to this nonprofit organization. If you have any other questions about that, definitely message me, call me, whatever you'd like. We'll talk about that. But now we are here to make mushroom risotto, again, with my awesome dad. He really has taught me almost everything. Casi todo lo que sé viene mi papá. Thank you for teaching me everything. And now we are going to start, okay? I'm going to switch you guys over to the back camera where we're going to be doing everything. We'll come back and forth to this camera over here, but mainly the things will be going to happen back there, okay? And we're going to start. And our chef over here is going to be taking control of everything. So go for it, Pa. What are we doing first?
First, we're going to do vamos a calentar el butter.
Okay, we are heating up the butter.
Yeah.
All right, we already had the skillet heating
hot,
up.
You don't want
The butter to burn.
the butter to burn.
Okay, so you want to maybe take it out.
This is too hot.
Yeah, we're going to lower it, okay? And feel free, definitely this is a very indulging dish, okay?
And we're going to add the onions.
Half of a large onion. That's why we split it into two parts, okay? And it's very important to know, again, this is a very indulging dish. That's why we have a bunch of butter and some heavy cream, all right? But totally feel free to use oil if you prefer. But of course, you're not going to get that amazing taste.
I don't recommend to use oil because you're going to use cream and cheese. And when you use oil with the butter and the cream, it will make that break.
Okay, so good to know.
Always only use butter.
Awesome.
When you're going to, that is my recommendation. When you're going to use anything with cream, always butter.
Awesome.
Never extra olive oil, or regular oil.
Amazing. See, I didn't even know that. So we're learning something today. So right now we are just sauteing half of a large onion, nicely diced, with some butter. We're just going to let that chill there for a little bit, get translucent. Give that a few more minutes. You want to add some salt maybe?
No.
No, not yet. No salt.
Not yet.
Guys, I'm very happy. I'm not cooking today. I'm one of you guys. I'm watching. I'm just here supervising.
Now it's just we need like 3-5 minutes.
Perfect.
For the
onion. And while you do that, if for some reason you weren't able to prep before, right, make sure that you have your diced mushrooms. All right, we have our sliced mushrooms, wash and slice. A little recommendation when you're washing your mushrooms, okay? Never, ever, ever submerge your mushrooms into water because mushrooms are like a sponge and they're going to absorb all of the liquid that you add to it, okay? So what you want to do, you just take a paper towel, a kitchen paper towel, moisten it a little bit with water, and then just clean off the top of your mushrooms. Very, very simple, okay? And that's what I did earlier today, and we sliced it up.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome. And again, guys, you're all muted, but definitely feel free to unmute yourself at any time to ask any questions. The only thing I ask is to please mute yourself afterwards so we make sure that everyone is listening over here.
What you look here is that you get like a yellow onion.
Like a nice golden brown color.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You want to, you don't want that hard onion.
Yeah, you don't want a hard piece of onion. You definitely want it to be nice and soft. And do you agree with me, right? Onions are like the base of any recipe? 100%. I know there are many people here and even family members that don't like onions. I don't understand why, because onions are amazing.
I cannot cook onion at home.
Yeah. Oh, you can't. Yes. No. My mother does not like onions. Okay.
Complicated.
Yes. No, Brian, no te faltó nada. Right now estamos sofriendo la cebolla con un poco de mantequilla. That's all we've done so far. Oh, and also we are just heating up over here some stock. Okay. And you know what? While the onions are sauteing, let's just add I have a little bit more vegetable stock. Any vegetable stock works. Doesn't have to be this brand. Any of it works. We just have a pot over here. We're gonna add the vegetable stock, and you're just gonna have it on warm, okay? Have it nice and warm, and once we go over to the risotto, and once we start cooking the rice, you will see what we do there. Okay, ¿cuánto de stock? Okay, 2 minutos. Yes. Cuando lleguemos al arroz, van a ver cuánto del stock necesitan. Por ahora solo vayan calentando como 6 a 8 tazas, ¿ok? Si les queda, pueden tomárselo después o guardarlo para otro momento, ¿ok? Awesome. Y please, just so it makes it easier, guys, we're not looking so much at the chat, okay? You can unmute yourself. Feel comfortable to unmute yourself and just ask any questions. Just make sure to mute yourself afterwards. Awesome. So it's basically been about like 3 minutes, no?
Yeah.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
It's getting nice and golden brown because the mushrooms, they cook very quickly. So you definitely want to make sure that the onions cook enough before we add the mushrooms. Over here, we only have butter and mushrooms, okay? And my dad said before, onions. Sorry, I meant onions, not mushrooms. We only have butter and onions right now, okay? And my dad was mentioning before, for those of you that might have just joined, whenever you're gonna cook with cream or with butter, with cream or with cheese, you wanna make sure to cook with butter and not with oil, because the oil will sort of break down the cheese and the cream and sort of make it like clumpy, and you don't want that to happen. So make sure you're using butter right now. Again, this is a very indulging dish, not something I would recommend to have every week, but for those special occasions, this dish is perfect. Exacto, para la dieta está exactamente. Awesome. Buenísimo. I'm really so thankful for all of you coming today and joining us. How I said before, next week's class will be on Thursday with an amazing nonprofit organization. All the money that we collect will go straight to them. So I hope you guys join us. Perfect. We're gonna add the mushrooms. We're adding, let's see how much you add, and then I'll tell you guys exactly the amount. Yeah. Okay, so we're adding about 16 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Okay, I just bought regular mushrooms. I'm gonna show you guys right here. Babybella. Yeah, the babybellas, how I clean them the way I explained a few minutes ago, and then I just sliced them, okay? I actually sliced 3 of these packs, but we ended up only using 2. But yeah.
You can use regular white mushroom. I like the crimini, or this is the babybella, because the brown, it will give some brown color to the rice.
Exactly that.
If you do the white mushroom, you know, it will stay very
Gotcha.
white.
So he's basically saying
a very, you know, a good flavor.
Exactly. You see how the outside of the mushrooms has this little brown layer? So he's basically saying that brown coloring will then infuse into the risotto and make the risotto a little bit more brown. But if you end up using white mushroom, it's still going to be delicious, but the color is going to be a little more white. We're just picking up the heat just a little bit. So it cooks a little bit slow, a little quicker. Again, in here, we only have melted butter. We sauteed our onions, and now we just added in the mushrooms.
We can start adding a little bit of salt and pepper.
Perfect.
And
salt and pepper.
The mushrooms?
Say that again, sorry?
We add all the mushrooms, or do we save some for later?
So we're adding all the mushrooms now. We ended up using about 16 ounces of the sliced mushrooms, okay? Basically, whatever fits in your pot.
Yeah.
Whatever fits in your skillet, add it in. Because if you add too many mushrooms, it's still going to be delicious. Or if you add a little too, not enough, it's still going to be delicious. So basically, whatever. It does smell.
Una pregunta, Steffi.
Cuéntame.
Mi cebolla no está dorada. No importa.
Ahí va el chef.
¿Está muy dura? ¿Está muy dura?
¿Está suavecita o está dura tu cebolla?
A ver, rápido. No sé.
Puede
ser por el color de la cebolla.
Puedes ir echando los champiñones. Ella se va a terminar de cocinar con los champiñones.
Buenísimo. Super.
Okay.
I'm just going to repeat.
Vamos muy rápido.
Yes. I'm just...
Sube un poquito el fuego sin quemar la cebolla. Pero
exacto.
ya puedes agregar los champiñones y subirle el fuego.
Exacto.
Cuando le agregas los champiñones, you can go out on the
exactly.
On the heat.
So someone just asked if their onions are not golden brown yet, what they should do. My dad just told them to pick up the heat a little bit. You can still have the mushrooms, so you're at the same pace as us. Make sure your heat is nice on high, and you're gonna see how the onions will continue cooking, and of course, at the same time, the mushroom are gonna be cooking. And you guys can see how this basically reduced in size.
Yeah.
Hola, yo tengo una pregunta.
Cuéntanos.
Es para el señor que está cocinando.
Ok.
Le puedo preguntar si me puede hacer una versión a mi light solamente con tomate y cebolla.
No, you're not on mute.
Quizás en otro momento. Eso ya es pedidos personales.
Pero pregúntale que si me puede hacer uno personalizado.
A ver.
Échale sin mantequilla.
Sin mantequilla.
¿Qué está hablando? Roy.
Scooby-Doo.
Smells good.
Buenísimo.
Cuando venga para la dieta.
Awesome, guys. So far, I see a few new people have been joining. So just to have you all on the same page, we have so far sauteed our onion, half of the onion in some butter. We let that get nice and golden brown. Then we added in our mushrooms. And then back here in another pot, we just have our, and salt and pepper. Yes, yeah. Salt and pepper in the mushrooms. And back here, we just have some of the vegetable stock heating up.
Pregunta,
go for it.
Además de la cebolla y los mushrooms y la manteca, ¿tenemos algo más?
Solo y sal y pimienta. Por ahora eso es todo lo que hemos echado.
Sal y pimienta.
Sí.
Dani, bienvenido.
Gracias.
Pregunta, todo el tiempo, mientras vamos echando las cosas, todo el tiempo moviendo, ¿no?
Todo el tiempo moviéndolo.
Para que no se nos vaya quemando y así todo se va cocinando evenly.
Exacto. Okay. Throughout the whole cooking process, you want to make sure, let me just mute you guys, sorry. Throughout the whole cooking process, you want to make sure that you're moving all the ingredients, giving it a nice, shake and stir, because you don't want the bottom to burn, for nothing to stick to your pan, and you want an even layer of cooking. You want everything to cook really nicely.
Si vamos muy rápido, me dicen, tenemos tiempo.
Tenemos tiempo, vamos bien.
Okay.
Vamos bien.
Ahorita, ya que está en medio, yo diría que está 3/4 de cocinado, le podemos
Por favor.
Now that we have like a 3/4 cook of the mushrooms, we can start adding the thyme.
Okay.
Like it will give a little bit of the, the flavor.
Yeah.
It will give a nice touch.
Exactly. Exactly. We just added in the chopped thyme. So we
One minute.
Yes, hello?
¿Qué hierba le echas?
Isra,
tomillo.
Steffi,
Sí.
un minuto. Acabo de entrar porque el internet aquí es fatal en Caracas.
Okay.
¿Me pueden repasar rapidito qué hicieron antes?
Claro que sí. Ya le voy a decir. Primero, primero melted.
La mantequilla,
Okay.
la cebolla como 3-5 minutos, le echas los champiñones y luego, después de los champiñones, le agregas el tomillo cuando ya esté más o menos cocinado, sal y pimienta y el tomillo.
Eso es todo.
Ya eso está medio listo.
Listo, buenísimo, un millón.
De nada.
No sé si el resto de la gente está más o menos al mismo pace, o vamos muy rápido.
Nos avisan.
Porque ya podemos empezar a hacer el arroz, que es la parte más importante.
Okay, and I'm just going to repeat that in English, okay? For those of you that might have just joined us, we first melted the butter in our skillet. Then we added the diced onion. We let that get nice and golden brown and soft. Then we added in our sliced mushrooms, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, cooked down the mushrooms. And now we just added some of the chopped thyme, okay? So far, that's all that we've been doing. Make sure you're constantly moving this so it doesn't stick. And then we're gonna be ready soon.
Okay. Ahorita, we're gonna add now, it's almost ready. We're gonna add now a little bit of the truffle oil.
Okay, a little bit of the truffle oil, just a little bit.
The mushrooms are ready.
You want to,
okay?
like a little drizzle, I would say what, like a half a teaspoon, media cucharadita? O una cucharadita.
Puede ser, es muy fuerte.
Sí,
Yo creo
sí.
que this is something that you have to taste on your own.
Yes.
Sí.
How you like, you know, there is people that doesn't like the truffle oil, there is people that like it, but you can see now that the mushrooms are, you know, are really good,
Yeah.
are nice and sauteed, and now when it's ready, now
And you're gonna smell
I can
that.
smell
Yeah.
the-
You're already as
yeah.
soon as you add that truffle oil, you're gonna smell it.
Yeah. And now we're gonna add some of the white wine, any dry wine. I don't recommend any sweet wine, no Moscato, nothing, you know, Pinot Grillo, Chardonnay.
Yes. But something that I want to mention. Well, how much are you gonna add in there?
Oh,
About a half a cup, fourth of a cup. We're gonna eyeball it.
yeah.
We're eyeballers here.
Just to give it the flavor.
Yes.
Because it's gonna reduce. You're gonna see now that the wine is gonna reduce and it's gonna leave a nice taste of the wine.
Yeah. Sorry for all the smoke. All right, and something that I wanted to
Steph.
talk to you guys. Yes. Pregunta.
El thyme, eso viene con unas ramitas, con los palitos, a juro.
Quítale solamente las hojas. Quítalo del palito.
Wow, ok.
Pero es okay, no te preocupes. No te
Una
Es muy
preocupes.
difícil.
Cuéntame, Melanie.
Sí, si no le echaste el truffle oil, ¿puedes echarle otra cosa o...?
No,
o
no es
lo dejamos?
necesario. El truffle oil es 100% opcional. The truffle oil is 100% optional. It's just to give it a little bit of that extra truffly mushroom taste. If you don't have it, yes.
I'm gonna show you how to do the time very fast.
Yes.
Steph, una preguntita.
Cuéntame.
Tengo full agua
Ok. ¿Por qué tienes mucha agua? ¿De dónde tienes agua?
de los mushrooms.
Ok, so sigue cocinándolo y se va a ir reduciendo el líquido. El agua se va a ir evaporando.
Entonces no agrego el aceite ni el vino hasta que no se evapore.
Exactamente. Exactamente.
Una pregunta, ¿qué temperatura tengo que saltear el mushroom?
Medio alto, para que se frían bien. Sí, sin que se queme, obviamente, pero en alto. O medio alto, no te tienes que ir muy alto, ¿ok?
Dale, gracias.
Buenísimo.
¿Qué vino blanco exactamente estás usando?
Ya les vamos a mostrar el vino. Primero...
Un Chardonnay, ok.
Perdón, ¿y cuánto vino echaron ahorita?
Le echamos más o menos como un cuarto de taza. Sí. Más o menos un cuarto de taza. ¿Ok? Y aquí le vamos a hacer a little trick.
Para el tomillo, para sacarle las hojas, you're not going to use the
stem.
The stem. You
hold it
on the top and you do like this.
With your fingers, you just pull it right down. Very easy. Okay, that's for the time. Just something that I want to mention to you guys about the wine, okay? Whenever you are cooking with wine, you want to make sure that you're going to use a wine that you would drink, okay? There's no reason to go buy cheap wine to cook because you don't want to spend money. Don't do that. Any wine that you would drink works perfectly to cook, okay? So now we're removing, the onions are ready. You guys can see we're just going to remove it from the heat. Now we're going to add another saute pan, a bigger one, because we're going to add everything in here, okay?
Steph.
Yeah, un segundito. And in here, we're just heating this up, okay? On high heat, we're going to let this heat up, and then we're going to start with the risotto. Yes, question. Si a Emi fue, creo.
Sí, Steph, habían agregado vino. Yo vi que agregaron el aceite de trufa, pero
agregamos
no
aceite de trufa y después le agregamos un poco de vino blanco seco, que no sea dulce.
Un cuarto de vino.
Sí, como un cuarto de taza. Es solamente para deglaze the pan, para poder quitarle todo lo que está debajo del sartén y mezclarlo todo rico.
Bueno. ¿Y el resto del vino cuándo lo agregamos?
No, ya, eso es todo.
Porque decía 1 cup.
¿Decía 1 cup?
Sí, los ingredientes.
No,
decía
para el
1
vino,
cup.
es verdad, pusimos 1 cup. No,
hicimos medio.
Al arroz se le puede echar un poco de white wine.
Pero no le agregamos más ahora.
Exacto, por ahora con un cuarto de taza, media taza.
Ya le pusimos
estamos bien.
medio. Too late.
No importa, solo deja que se cocine un poco y que todo se evapore. Okay, guys, please just make sure that when you unmute yourself, that you mute yourself afterwards again, okay? Porfa, asegúrense que si se quitan el mute para preguntar preguntas, que 100% pueden, asegúrense de ponerse otra vez en mute.
Vamos a empezar con let's start with the rice.
With the rice. Perfect. This is nice and heated. Remember that we have our vegetable stock back here heating up, okay? It's on low heat. And now we're gonna start with the rice.
Put first the butter.
Perfect. We're gonna melt that butter first. We're basically gonna start the same way that we started with the mushrooms, okay? We're gonna melt our butter. We're gonna saute the other half of the onion, and then we will continue. There we go. We just added in the onion. Now we're mixing that up. Y aquí here we're also going to get to golden brown. Okay, so the same way that we sauteed the onions for the mushroom portion, we are going to do the same thing now for the risotto. Okay, we have some butter and we have some onions sauteed. I'm going to repeat what we mentioned at the beginning. Okay, when you're cooking with milk, with cream, with any type of cheese, you want to make sure that the oil, the fat that you're using in the dish is butter, not oil, because the oil will break down the cheese and the milk and will sort of break it. You know, like when cheese is expired, that's the way it's going to look. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're using butter. Buenísimo. Make sure you're constantly stirring this so it doesn't, so it doesn't stick to the pot. Go for it. Si tienen preguntas, sin pena, pregunten. It's okay, don't worry. We're playing around with the temperatures.
Yeah.
Oh.
Put it on a medium high.
Yeah, medium high heat.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the last time we cooked together.
Yeah, here it's important that you don't burn the
onion. Yeah, it's
because
better.
You're gonna keep the white of the rice with the onion.
Exactly. So you want to make sure that it's better to keep it a little bit on low and take a longer time cooking the onions than putting it on high and accidentally burning them. You do not want them to burn. You just want them to saute, get nice and soft, a little golden brown, delicious. Awesome. Bueno, aquí estoy viendo el chat.
Stephanie, ¿qué hacemos con los hongos?
Los hongos están al lado. Yo los tengo aquí al ladito.
Pero no se están quemando ni nada.
No, quítalo del fuego.
Pero tienen líquido todavía, tengo que esperar a que se le vaya el líquido.
Si tiene líquido todavía, espera que se le vaya un poco el líquido, sí. El mío ya no tiene nada de líquido, so dale un minutito más ahí mezclándolo para que se evapore el...
Haciendo el arroz.
Ah, exacto, estamos haciendo el arroz.
Steph, una pregunta rapidito.
Cuéntame, Meli.
Se me fue la señal cuando estaban hablando de agregar el vino. Agregué una taza de vino, ¿está bien?
Ok, bueno, era menos, pero no pasa nada. Solo sigue cocinándolo y hasta que se evapore todo el líquido, ya puedes ir al próximo. Exacto. No pasa nada. Y si, por ejemplo, yo ahorita aquí, here, I don't have a big stovetop. That's why we're doing in separate batches. But if you have a bigger stovetop, you can be finishing your mushrooms in the back and starting your rice in the front. We're just doing it in 2 parts.
Ok, buenísimo, gracias.
De nada. Super. Rebs, go with it with your question. What's up? No, no question? No, creo que no. Okie dokie. I'm going to check the chat. Make sure you're moving that around. We're going to come say hi to you guys. Let's see the chat. Did you add wine to the mushrooms? Yes, we added about 1/4 of a cup of wine to the mushrooms. I know that the recipe says 1 cup. We will add a little bit more later to the risotto. But right now we just added about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 a cup. Qué rico, Uri. Yo también tengo hambre. Ya yo estoy lista. Oh, by the way, ahí está Uri. I'm also going to be making a very simple baked salmon to eat with this. Just some salt and pepper. All of your main flavors tonight will be coming from your risotto, but any side dish totally works. Just don't pack it too much with flavor so everything just balances out.
Yo prefiero la invitación a tu casa.
Cuando tú quieras. Siempre invitado.
Con la sopa.
Exacto, con la sopa, ¿no? Ya tenemos una lista de lo que tenemos que hacer. ¿Qué otras ideas recomiendas aparte de hongos? ¿Qué otro vegetal recomiendas? What other vegetables do you recommend for risotto instead of mushrooms? Asparagus. Definitely asparagus. Yeah. It's very tricky when you're making risotto. You don't want a vegetable that's going to add too much liquid to your meal, right? So like you wouldn't want to use zucchini because zucchini is gonna.
You can do a vegetable risotto, but you can, cook all the vegetables aside,
and then add it in.
Then you add it the same way we did with the mushroom. You can add, zucchini, I don't know, asparagus, onion.
Yeah, I think ajo porro también. As you can see, we're mushroom risotto fans. That's what we make every time.
Okay, I see that the onions are getting yellow.
Golden brown.
Golden brown, and we can start. I can start adding
the rice. Guys, that you need to pay very close attention now with the rice, okay? The rice is basically the main thing you're gonna learn right now, right? Because we all know how to saute vegetables and onions and all that good stuff, but the rice right now is gonna be the main focal point here. So.
Okay, Steve, tómense un café mientras. Va muy rápido.
Perdón. Cuando terminemos, when we finish, I promise that we're going to answer all of your questions. We just want to make sure that we have enough time and we don't want to make everyone be here for too long.
Now we're going to add the rice, okay? It's only the butter and the onion, and now the rice. And this is important, that I always recommend that here you saute the rice. Because this helps with the starch of the rice.
Right? And you want to make
sure. Get sticky.
Exactly. And
if you add the rice and you add the water right away,
all of that starch that you usually clean out from the rice will automatically be added. Okay? But for risotto rice, you do not clean it before. Okay? All of that starch is still in the rice. So we're basically going to saute it a little bit, basically until the rice gets white, right? Until it gets a little white. That's going to remove all of its starch. You don't want to burn it, of course. And then with a ladle, we're going to be using just a measuring cup. We'll begin adding. ¿Una pregunta por ahí?
¿Qué cantidad de arroz?
Tenemos 2 tazas de arroz. 2 cups of rice.
Y aquí ya terminamos y quedó sensacional.
¿Ya le pusiste el queso? ¿Ya le pusiste el queso o es el arroz solo?
No. Esto es solo el arroz.
Esto es solo arroz y cebolla y la mantequilla, Dani.
Ok.
Buenísimo.
Steph, entonces no lavas ese arroz.
No lo lavamos. No lo lavamos porque ahorita lo estamos sofriendo y asegurándose. Ay, porque me dejan poner aquí en mute. Y asegurándonos que ahorita cuando se cocine todo el starch se le va a ir.
Now we can start adding
the broth, okay? A little at a time, no? Like 1 cup at a time? All right, so we just added in 1 cup.
You're going to see that you start adding the broth, and you want to slow cook. Now you can, I would say 3/4 of a height of the temperature. Okay?
Like medium high.
Medium high.
Perdón.
¿Pregunta?
No se escuchó bien. Solo echaron el arroz y después más nada, ¿verdad?
No. Okay, ahorita, I'm going to repeat it, okay? As of now, we have added butter and we sauteed the onions, okay? Then we added in 2 cups of rice and we just cooked it down a little bit, okay? The rice, it was not washed before. We just cooked it a little bit, got it nice and white so the starches can be removed. And now we're adding 1 cup at a time of broth. So we added 1 cup of the warm broth. And now that the liquid is evaporated and the rice absorbs it, we're going to add in another cup. Okay, that's why there's no exact measurement of how much liquid you're going to end up using. Okay, we're going to be adding.
Stephanie, ¿cuánto broth para 2 tazas?
Okay, eso es lo que acabo de decir. Vamos a ir poniéndolo poco a poco. No hay una medida exacta. Okay, vamos a ir cocinándolo, probando el arroz hasta que esté suavecito y perfecto. Por ahora le hemos echado 2 tazas del broth. Okay. Vamos a ir agregando más poco a poco. ¿Hacen delivery? A ti sí, aquí en Downtown sí, Uri.
Stephanie, ¿a qué temperatura el fuego?
Los 3/4, medium high.
Ahí llegó a mí, Lejain, ¿no es mi vino?
No sepa, por ahí lo sigues moviendo. Creo que es este. Buenísimo. All right, make sure that you're mixing the rice, okay? You don't want it to stick.
Israel.
Sí. Ya llevo más o menos 2 cups. Ahorita le voy a echar el tercero.
El tercer cup. Mientras, you just want the rice to absorb the liquid before adding the next cup. ¿Alguien tenía una pregunta? Escuché Israel, pero creo que ya le respondimos la pregunta.
Question.
Yes.
So do I have to wait, if we're adding it in slowly, the broth, should I wait until it gets a little bit more evaporated, or do I just keep adding it in?
No. You want to wait till evaporate and then you add more. And then evaporate and add more. At least, I think
a few minutes in between.
The third cup that we have. I think with the fourth one, we're going to be good. Depend on the rice. Each rice is different.
Even though it's Arborio rice, each brand is a little bit different. They cook at different temperatures. That's why there's no exact measurement of how much stock we're going to use. So far, we've used 3 cups of the chicken stock. We're probably going to add 1 more, even maybe 2. We're going to see.
Now you can start adding a little bit of salt. Like the salt will incorporate with the rice.
Perfect.
Okay?
Again, we don't really measure here, but just a nice pinch of salt. A nice pinch of salt. Make sure and you're gonna see while you're cooking, all that starch absorbs the liquid and it starts getting nice and thick, but it's still not cooked. If you touch the rice with your hands, it's still hard. We want to make sure that it gets soft at some point.
Él le agregó sal, Steph.
Le acabamos de agregar un poquito de sal.
Ok.
Buenísimo.
Steph, ¿y ya agregaron el perejil?
No, eso es al final. The parsley is to garnish at the end. Es para decorarlo encima después. No va dentro de la receta.
Ah, ok.
Bueno, pero presten atención.
No, es que lo que pasa es que se me va la señal.
Okay.
Se me va la señal, Ali.
No se preocupen. Sin pena, pregunten.
Yo siempre recomiendo aquí, si vas a usar pimienta, usa pimienta blanca, porque tú vas a querer un plato como esto es blanco. You don't want to see the dark.
Yeah, unfortunately, we only have black pepper.
No, but we add some to the mushroom.
It's true. We're not going to add any now.
Yeah. Everybody see how the rice, how you can move the rice and it gets, separate. You don't want a smooshy rice.
Yeah, you want it nice and firm.
That is important on the risotto, right? That you want like al dente rice. Okay? You don't want fully cooked rice.
Yeah, you want it al dente.
Yeah. And now you have to try, and I'm going to try how the rice is cooked.
You're going to try it? It needs a little bit more. So give it a little try, and you're going to see that it still needs a little bit more.
How the rice is.
Yeah.
I'm going to add 1 more cup, okay?
This is our 4th cup.
Yeah.
Our 4th cup of the vegetable broth, okay? Before you add that 4th cup, give it a little try. Pruébelo un poquito a ver si está dura o suave su arroz. No quieren que esté pastoso. You don't want it to end up being mushy.
And also important, if you want, you can add some salt, but think about that you're going to add Parmesan cheese that is going to give more salt.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
Add a little bit of salt, but at the end, with the cheese, it's going to go high.
Because you definitely always want to add a little bit of salt, because the salt is what brings all the flavors together.
Yeah,
but that's a good.
Incorporate on the rice.
And that's a good point. Definitely remember that we're going to be adding Parmesan cheese. Some of you may add more Parmesan cheese than others, and that will also affect the saltiness of the dish. So you wanted to mention something about if you weren't going to eat it now, but you want to eat it tomorrow.
Yeah. I know somebody asked me if they want to eat it, they don't want to eat it right now. You can actually do the mushrooms as we did. You can do the rice as we're going to finish the rice and just put it on the refrigerator.
Put everything separately. The mushroom separate and the rice separate. And then tomorrow, mix everything together, add in the heavy cream and add in the Parmesan cheese. Okay,
when I used to have my restaurant, we have the rice ready.
Okay.
We used to have the rice al dente, like this.
Ready to go.
Like it is right now, ready to go. What we did is just we add a little bit of the onions, butter, the vegetables
Okay.
or the fish or whatever, and then the rice that is already like this.
Gotcha.
Because in a restaurant, you don't gonna
You don't have
spend,
time making
20
it from
20
scratch.
minutes.
Exactly.
This is the way that we used to, all the restaurants do it that way.
Exactly.
They have the pre-cooked rice.
Awesome. All right. So if any of you are not planning on having this tonight, you can do both of the separate parts, refrigerated, and then tomorrow you can combine the rice, the cooked mushrooms, combine it together, add in your Parmesan cheese, add in your heavy cream, and then your dish is perfectly ready and fresh tomorrow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Steph, Sarita wants to say hi.
Sarita, a ver.
Dile hola.
My beautiful niece, a ver, buscándote. Ahí está, Saru. Hola, princesa. ¿Cómo estás?
Mira, ahí está con su papá
Bien.
haciendo.
Aquí
haciendo
estamos. Voy a
risotto.
saludarlos a todos. I'm going to say hello again. We're here. We're cooking. We're very excited. I hope you are all enjoying it. Ahí estamos. Drinking some wine, having a good time. We have our rice cooking back there. Let's go back to that main camera.
Israel, aquí me tienes cocinando.
Ajá, me parece muy bien. Ese es David.
Ese es David.
Eso.
Buenísimo, tío. Qué rico que estás aquí cocinando con nosotros.
Está quedando rico.
Huele muy rico.
Isa, este es el famoso risotto MMGBO que tú habías dicho.
Ese es el mismo.
Okay.
Very famous. Well, for those of you that don't know, my dad is a very amazing chef. He's retired now. He doesn't work as a chef anymore. But back in the day, he had a magnificent Italian restaurant here in Miami, and this was one of the signature dishes. Este era uno de sus platos más pedidos, ¿no?
Sí.
Number one dish. So that's why I invited him here today to show us how to make it, because I've never made risotto before, and I'm not even making it today. I only want to eat my dad's risotto. I don't even order it at other restaurants because his is the best.
My rice is almost ready.
Almost,
I don't want
okay.
to fully cook because what I'm going to do is that now is the time we can add the mushrooms.
Okay, I want to try this. Okay.
And with the mushroom, it's going to finish cooking. You feel like the cracking.
Exactly.
When you try the rice, it's not cooked.
It's not 100% cooked. I would say it's like 3/4 of the way cooked.
Yeah.
Right? It needs like a little bit more to cook. But remember, we're going to add the mushrooms in now, and then the cream, and then the rest of the ingredients, which we will talk about, and you're going to let it cook. So you don't want to fully cook right now, 3/4 of the way. If you try it, it's going to have a little.
¿Cuántas tazas en total le echaste de caldo?
4.
En total, 4 tazas de el
Pues no le tenía que echar más.
Okay.
4 tazas y según yo veo, como probé mi arroz, me va a tocar echarle un poquito más.
Después.
Pero si no tienen chicken broth,
Vegetable
broth, you can add some water, okay? I'm gonna now add the mushrooms, okay? That we have it already cooked.
Anabela, ¿tienes una pregunta?
Sí, mi arroz
Cuéntame.
es crudo. ¿Le sigo poniendo más caldo vegetal?
Sígale echándole más del broth para que se vaya cocinando. Pero acuérdate, quieres que llegue a tipo 3/4 de cocinar, porque después vamos a agregarle la crema y vamos a seguir cocinándolo. O sea, no quieres que...
Stephanie, mi arroz está súper duro.
¿Súper duro?
Vamos a esperar un poquito, yo le voy a bajar el fuego.
Exacto, aquí vamos a bajarle un poquito.
Ok.
Si está muy duro y está seco, échale más consomé, no importa. Si no tienes consomé, échale agua.
Agua caliente, boiling water.
Sí, o agua regular.
Ok.
Algo se va a cocinar. Igual el sabor final se lo vamos a encontrar cuando le echemos el queso, cuando le echemos el soft oil,
y la crema.
Y después le podemos echar más sal y
Perfecto.
todos los ingredientes que nos faltan. Ya aquí, ahorita que yo le eche el mushroom, I'm going to add more of the broth. You need that,
Okay. Again, guys, this is going to be to your taste, okay? So you want to make sure that you're trying it as you're cooking, you're trying it, okay? You don't want the rice to be too hard, but you don't want it to be too soft, okay? And this is a trial and error. If this is your first time making it, I hope it comes out perfect, but it's okay if it doesn't because it's the first time you make it.
Yeah.
But now you learn how to make it, and in the future, the more times you make it, the better it will come out.
And for me, it's the first time I make it with, cups and
measured, yeah.
measures,
Yeah.
It's very hard for chefs,
to measure.
When you do this,
Yeah. I had to beg my dad to write out the recipe. He just sent me the ingredients. I was like, no, I need the amounts. Everyone likes to cook with, you know, cups and teaspoons and this and that. I also don't cook with measurements. I just throw everything in. But now with my classes, I've learned to cook with measurements, which is totally fine. But as you start to get more comfortable in the kitchen, you'll start to not have to use measurements. Aviva, I see you have a question. What do we do if the rice is sticking to the pot, but it is still super hard?
Lower
the heat. The heat is too high, okay? Lower the heat, add a little bit more of the vegetable stock, continue stirring it until it gets nice and soft. Let's see, did anyone else ask any more questions over here?
We can slow down here a little bit.
Yeah. We're gonna slow down just a little, make sure everyone is on the same page. ¿Quién dijo lee mi pregunta? No veo. No dice de quién es. Thank you. All the Getzel chefs are great chefs. Thank you so much. Prima, ¿cuál fue el primer paso con los mushrooms? Okay, with the mushrooms, exactly. We put the butter, we sauteed the onions until they were golden brown. Then we added the mushrooms, a little bit of salt and pepper. We let that cook down. Then we added in the thyme, and that's it, right? That's all we added to the mushrooms. And then now with the rice, we put some butter, we sauteed the onions, we added the rice, cooked down the rice, etc. More questions are coming in. Carla, pero ¿cuál fue el primer paso? Te lo acabo de decir, ¿ya viste? ¿Dónde pusiste el vino? El vino también, perdón, el vino fue en los mushrooms, tienes razón, sorry. El vino, like a fourth of a cup of wine to the mushrooms, just to deglaze the pan, to get all of those drippings and deliciousness that gets stuck to the pan. That's what you use the wine for, to remove all of that and to incorporate it into the dish. And the thyme, yes, we added thyme. No, but I said that before.
Perfecto, thank you.
Buenísimo, de nada.
Now, I think, the way
I want to try this, a ver.
Yep.
No, not yet. Another one?
No.
A ver. Let's see how this is.
We can add a little bit more of the vegetable.
Okay.
No?
Yeah, a little. I think it's good, but if you want to add more, add more. Again, guys, you see, every single time we make the risotto, we end up adding different portions, different proportions of the recipe, because again, it depends how much rice you're using and how it's absorbing the liquid and all that kind of stuff.
And each rice is different.
And each rice is different. Exactly. So you really just try it, keep on tasting it. Before it was crunchy, now it's much softer. So just taste it. Okay. And I don't even think I mentioned this before, but we already added the mushrooms. I'm sure you can see it in the image.
No, I saw that.
Yeah, but I didn't mention it. Okay. I did not mention it. Buenísimo. Feel free. A ver, vas a poner la receta completa luego. Ya la receta lo mandé por email, ¿ok? Si no te llegó la receta, mándenme un email a este email que voy a dejar en el chat y les llegará toda la información. Aquí voy a dejar mi email.
Una pregunta.
Cuéntame.
Si no vamos a comer todo, no entendí, ¿dejamos los hongos separados del arroz?
Sí.
Sí. Bueno, o también, Dani, también puedes juntarlo con los champiñones y no finalizar la cocción.
No, pero yo quiero comer algo hoy.
Okay.
Por eso voy a hacer...
Bueno, lo que te quede lo puedes calentar mañana, posiblemente, o sea, si no vas a comer la mitad, yo recomendaría que ahorita saques la mitad que no está take it out, leave it outside, and tomorrow you finish cooking. Because if it's not,
okay.
It's going to be very
overcooked.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
With the risotto, it's important that you keep the rice, the crunchy, the authentic.
Yeah.
On the rice.
Yeah.
Okay. And now is the time that you can start tasting. I think my rice is almost ready.
Yeah.
You can start tasting, and you can add some salt, pepper.
And something important about reheating it tomorrow, you can also, if tomorrow when you reheat it, right, if you have leftovers, you can also add a little bit of more of like the hot vegetable broth to make it more soft before maybe putting in the microwave or something.
Yeah. You can try.
Let's see, I'm going to try. So good.
Need a little bit more salt.
A little, but we're going to add Parmesan cheese, so don't add it yet. If you feel like it needs more salt, don't add it yet. We're gonna add the Parmesan cheese first. We'll try it, and then if you feel like it still needs more salt, then we'll add more salt.
Yes.
Cuéntame, Rebe, go for it.
No, it's Lex.
Oh, sorry. Go for it, Lex.
I guess you have the same voice, friend.
You really do.
Question. So my rice is like, I'd say 98% of the way there. Is the cream supposed to help it cook a little bit more?
Yes.
Or do I add more broth?
Exactly. No, don't. If it's like 98%, don't add more broth. In a few minutes, just keep on cooking it down the way we are. In like 2 minutes, we're gonna add the cream. Right, Bob?
It's important.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see on the camera that each of the grain,
It's separate from each other.
Yeah. It's not, that is important. That is the key, that you don't want a smooshy rice in the risotto.
Okay. Yeah, mine's not mushy yet.
Perfect.
Now I think
Awesome.
we can start adding
The cream. Here we go.
I don't know what's
The measurement. Again, guys, you see, we don't measure. It's a half a cup. You want to start with a half a cup or a fourth of a cup? Start with a fourth or a half. Here. Yeah. Awesome. So right now we're gonna be adding a half a cup of the heavy whipping cream. How Alexa just asked, the rice will continue cooking with the cream. Okay, so if it's like 90% cooked, 95% cooked, let's add in the cream the way we are. You're just gonna give that a nice mix. Oh yeah, I'm so excited for dinner. So delicious. Oh my gosh.
Now you can go a little bit high on the.
Yeah, bring up the heat a little bit. I'm gonna bring up the heat. Voy a apagar esto acá.
Okay. Now with the cream, you're gonna see that it's gonna start the smooshy and the thick.
It's gonna start thickening, yeah. It's gonna start thickening, and you will see the rice coming together, okay? It will become a little bit more clumpy. That's totally fine. As long as your rice is cooked, you are good. Qué rico. Está delicioso. Súper, súper rico. And for those of you that are watching, but you're not cooking, the recording of the class will be in my YouTube channel and on my IGTV on Instagram. So if you want to rewatch it another day, you can watch it and just follow the steps and make it.
And also now is the time that if you want to add more truffle oil, if you like more truffle oil, you can add more here. It will not change anything to the recipe.
Let's see if we want to
add more. You can add more salt.
Not salt yet because we're gonna add the Parmesan cheese first. I feel like we could add a little bit more truffle oil.
Yeah.
A little drizzle. Very little.
Your mom is not here.
Exactly. My mom is not eating. My mom has a completely different palate than me and my dad. So we always have to cook a little bit different so everyone is happy. ¿Verdad, ma? Ahí está mirando. Gracias a ti.
¿Se le puede
gracias por
agregar un
venir.
poquito de vino?
¿Se le puede agregar un poquito de vino?
Se le puede agregar un poquito de vino si hace falta. Al
Sí hace
mío
falta.
no le hace falta, porque el vino ahorita lo que va a hacer es agregar líquido.
Es agregar líquido,
Según
exacto.
yo veo mi risotto está a la perfección ahorita para echarle, no sé si lo pueden ver en la cámara, para echarle ahorita el queso. Mi arroz no necesita más líquido. Si tú ves, falta más vino.
Stephanie.
Sí, pregunta.
Todavía está crunchy y ya le agregué las 4 tazas. ¿Sigo cocinando antes de agregarle la crema?
No, ya le puedes agregar, dice, ¿la crema? Sí, agrégale un poquito de crema, ve cocinándolo. Si todavía ves que está muy crunchy, y acuérdate que el risotto siempre debe quedar un pelín crunchy. No va a quedar, va a quedar un poco al dente, ¿ok? Obviamente va a ser a tu gusto. Si ves que, ok, está súper duro, agrégale un poquito más del stock, un poquito más de vino, lo que tú prefieras, el líquido que tú prefieras. And if someone has a question, I know I'm answering everything in Spanish. If anything that I say in Spanish you didn't understand and you'd like to understand, please feel free to ask in English and I will repeat. She was just asking me about that she already added all of the liquid, but her rice is still a little hard. So I told her just to add the heavy cream, cook it down, and then if she feels like it's still too hard, you can add a little bit more of the broth or some more
Now we're gonna add
the cheese. Yes.
Okay.
We're adding in the cheese. How much? Or half a cup, right?
Yeah.
About a half. Here you can put as much or as little as you'd like. It's totally to your liking.
I'm putting like a half a cup.
Go for it. And we're gonna try it. Remember, we haven't added too much salt now. We're waiting for the Parmesan cheese. So if it needs more salt, we'll either add more Parmesan or salt. We'll see in just a moment. Qué rico, Cari. Disfrútalo. I'm so happy que te está quedando rico. Again, guys, don't feel discouraged if it doesn't come out perfectly, okay? If this is your first time making it, it's not an easy dish. No, I haven't even attempted it myself because, well, I mean, I have the master right over here, but it is not an easy dish to make, okay? So don't worry if it doesn't come out perfect. You will try it a few more times and make it perfect. You can rewatch this video.
Now, if you look a little bit dry,
okay.
I'm gonna add a little bit of the vegetable stock just to, you know.
I would say about like 2 tablespoons you just added. Just a little bit to make it a little more creamy.
Yeah.
So instead of adding the cream, you added more stock because we don't need any more cream in there. Just a little more stock. That's why you want to make sure that you're trying it and it's all looking good. ¿Cómo vamos?
¿Cuánto queso?
Le agregamos media taza de queso rallado. A half a cup of shredded cheese.
And here on the cheese, I really recommend go with the Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
Don't go with, you know, because that is, it's gonna, when it cooks, it's gonna give a powerful flavor.
Yes,
if
agreed.
you use if you don't use a good cheese.
Yeah, I agree.
You know.
A ver, let's try this. Always try your food while you're cooking, guys. Good stuff. Delicioso. I actually think it needs a little bit of salt. What about you? Just a little. Or should we add more cheese? No, a sprinkle of salt.
Yeah.
I feel like it just needs that like little bit. I just added a sprinkle of salt, guys. Make sure you try yours before adding salt. It's getting clumpy?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
I want to be able to serve it nice on the dish. Almost done.
We are almost done, guys. We want to make sure that we present this in the next 5 minutes so we can post the video on the IGTV. A ver, te traigo el plato. O tráelo aquí. ¿No lo íbamos a hacer aquí bonito? Awesome. So bring that over there. There we go.
See here that you can move it like this?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's change the camera over here. ¿Quieres mostrarle cómo lo estás haciendo? Espérate. All right, guys, let me bring over that camera. Hold on 1 second. We're going to show you how to make it very fancy. Let me just turn this off 1 second. What do we call these? Caneles? What you're going to do? Cannolis? I don't even know. We're going to show you guys. Okay. Dale, pa. Tráelo para acá.
There's no camera. Ah, there you go.
Espérate. Un poquito más para atrás. So we're going to add it in a few little sections.
Wow, así lo servía en el restaurante, si no me equivoco. Buenos recuerdos.
Muy buenos recuerdos, qué belleza. Espectacular. And now we're going to bring the parsley, right? We have that chopped parsley. We're going to give it a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese on top. All right, look how beautiful that looks. I have my chopped parsley, a little sprinkle right here. Belleza. Some Parmesan cheese. A few pieces of that fancy one.
You can add a little bit of the truffle oil if you want to give a little bit. Beautiful.
And look how beautiful that looks. Mushroom risotto.